Hi, good morning everybody, and welcome to this briefing on Ultima's Managed Workspace service offering. My name is Stuart Sims and I'll be presenting the briefing for you today. Just a bit of housekeeping to start. This will be a recorded session, so you'll be able to watch back later if you miss anything, and feel free to pop any questions in the chat box and we'll collect the questions at the end of the webinar and process the responses offline for you. Okay, so let's carry on. So to give you a bit more of an introduction as to who I am, my name's Stuart Sims, as I said, and my role here at Ultima is Head of Workspace Pre-Sales. In terms of background, my experience is predominantly working in the end-user computing space in both public and private sectors. I'm going to admit to around 20 years experience, and mainly in a technical capacity, so engineer, consultant, solution architect. And then in my current role, my key responsibility is essentially developing the workspace go-to-market strategy for Ultima and providing the pre-sales support and services within that strategy. So working with both our own products and products under the Microsoft 365 umbrella and EUC products from the likes of Citrix, Mimecast, HP, Dell, Lenovo, to name a few. Okay, so that's out that out of the way, and we'll get on with the presentation. So in terms of agenda, what I'll do is give you an overview of what Managed Workspace is to start with, go through the key benefits to your organization, review all the key features, give you an idea of the infrastructure that's involved, and look at the purchase options. Okay, so starting with what is Managed Workspace. So at its core, Managed Workspace is a user and device-centric managed service solution, meaning the focus is on achieving the best end-user experience possible when accessing using the IT resources that your organization has likely spent a small fortune on. We've taken a life cycle management approach to the service, meaning that we'll manage the end-to-end IT processes that are involved in onboarding your users to your IT systems, supplying them with a device and ensuring they have the applications and access to resources that they need to do their job or to study if it's education. During the life cycle of the device, we'll manage the security, the application and OS deployment, patching, as well as deploy major feature updates. This is all achieved using a set of best-in-class products supplied by some of the partners you can see at the bottom of the screen there. We'll provide service delivery managers and technical consultants to manage these lifecycle services for you, and they will additionally provide incidents and change management support to your on-site teams, as you'd expect. A key differentiator to this service when compared to a traditional managed service is the management of the technology and the continuous technical innovation that we employ, whereby the Managed Workspace platforms are continuously evaluated by our internal subject matter experts. And if after careful consideration, for example, they deem one of the products used within the solution to be no longer fit for purpose, we'll look to replace that product with a suitable replacement with minimal disruption to yourself. So yeah, essentially we want to give you a truly evergreen solution where you don't need to worry about what technology is being used under the hood, although you'll always have visibility of what that is. Okay, so just lastly on this slide, so yeah, we deliver this service to you in a fixed monthly pricing model, so allowing you to accurately plan and budget. Okay. So key benefits, and yeah, why should you use Managed Workspace? So one of the key aims of Managed Workspace is to remove significant pain points that are commonly associated with managing the end user workspace. That's from the logistics of device deployment to timely patching of your operating systems and applications, installed through to logistics of onboarding users and recycling and recycling devices. These are all things that can take up a significant amount of time, for your on-site service desks, time which they could be spent on activities that are far more valuable to your organisation. Managed Workspace is built on sort of cloud-native platforms, so we're aiming for a sort of modern workspace, and as this product's found within the likes of Microsoft Endpoint Manager, Avanti Neurons, Eternity, all of which are designed to support that sort of flexible hybrid working model, be that with sort of managed devices or bring your own devices. So through research, we know that a poor IT onboarding experience is a key contributor to individuals leaving within the first 3 months of starting at a new organisation. That, combined with undiscovered and unreported technical issues, can result in a lot of end user frustration and significant periods where they simply can't work, as I'm sure you've all sort of experienced. We aim to address these issues in Managed Workspace with our patented automated JML solution, so iConnect JML Edition, and the aim being to streamline those onboarding experiences. We then follow that up with Eternity's digital experience management solution, and that allows us to proactively identify and address any issues that are sort of present or that arise before, and then we can address them before there's any significant impact to the business or to that individual user. The configuration of all the products included within Managed Workspace is based on our collective real-world experience of our subject matter experts, and these best practices are continuously revised through a feedback loop within the business. So we'll always be sort of maintaining best practices with the configurations we deploy and the management of the platform. Now we're all aware of the challenges of keeping up with the changes to the applications we use. These are continuously evolving and being updated with sort of improved features. And if we combine those challenges with issues of sort of shadow IT, where your users are seeking out alternative products because they're not sure how to use the ones that you've provided them, it results in the business not realizing the value of their original investment. And we're talking about apps sort of like the Office Suite, Microsoft Word, Excel, Microsoft Teams, etc. So we address that in Managed Workspace through an adoption and change management service, where we consult with you on your training requirements, and analyze your environment and sort of user personas, build out a communication strategy, and then deliver the required training using tailored online training, which sort of tracks progress, achievements, and then that's backed by sort of quarterly reviews where we can refine the training or communication processes if they're not working. Another headache, and sometimes a significant expense, is keeping up with the evolution of the technology. Products can become sort of redundant or unfit for purpose, or there simply can be better ways of doing things that improve efficiency. The management of this activity is built into Managed Workspace, and no longer something you need to worry about. So we're managing that's, as I pointed out earlier, one of the sort of key differentiators is we're managing the sort of evolution of Managed Workspace. Just a reminder, if you've got any questions, just pop them in the chat, and we'll sort of process them after the webinar. Okay. So moving on to key features. So what's included in Managed Workspace? So starting with device lifecycle management. So this is essentially us managing the processes involved in delivering and maintaining devices, including sort of the procurement, arranging configuration and deployment, through to asset tagging, break fix support, stock holding, all the way through to recycling devices or disposing of them, depending on what your preference is. With automated provisioning, we'll pre-provision your devices with apps and settings before the end users receive them, meaning they're up and running in minutes and users don't need to wait for apps to be downloaded and installed. So that's leveraging the sort of Windows Autopilot technology that some of you will be familiar with. So OS lifecycle management is the management of Windows updates, including monthly and annual feature updates, as well as any sort of critical vulnerability patches as and when they are identified using automated processes where possible. With app recycle management, we'll maintain your application library for you, delivering core apps during deployment and on-demand apps where required. We aim to ensure critical apps are patched and applied in a timely fashion, so we know how important that is to users and the business. So experience optimization. So this is quite an important feature and important, regardless of whether you take on this service, it's quite an important thing to adopt in a modern workspace. So yeah, experience optimization is powered by our partner's product, Eternity's digital experience management. And this includes sort of end user experience monitoring, application performance monitoring, device performance monitoring and benchmarking. And this allows us to employ a number of sort of processes to ensure issues affecting end user productivity and are sort of proactively identified and automatically remediated once we identify that solution. So limiting the impact on the business. The product can also identify physical issues, so such as a battery failing or some component in the device failing. And in that situation, if you've taken up our break fix option, we'll replace those components for you. The tailored security so provides a choice of security services covering sort of endpoint, identity, data, and apps, as well as secure internet access for your devices when users are roaming around, and also an optional sort of 24/7 full SOC service. So yeah, it's quite a sort of selection of options for security management. As covered in the previous slide, we have a dedicated adoption and change management partner, and this is set up to provide, they're set up to provide extensive adoption and change management services, and that's purely focused around the Microsoft 365 sort of stack, if you like, and that includes sort of, Windows 10, Windows 11, the Office suite, Teams, etc. So JML, again, we've discussed, so provides a consultancy service aimed at automating all your sort of JML, joiner, mover, leaver processes. So students or staff joining the business or establishment, and through their whole journey through that, any changes in role that need to be sort of where they need access to new systems or files, etc. We're aiming to automate all those sort of change processes through to sort of leaving the business when you need to make sure all those security access rights are revoked. So yeah, looking to automate that whole process. So that's using our IA Connect technology, and we combine that with the power of sort of Power Automate platform, Microsoft Power Automate platform, and our patented workflows, so that address a lot of sort of pre-canned sort of problems or JML sort of routines that we know about. So getting on to the actual platform itself, i.e. the infrastructure, what it looks like. So this slide represents the key sort of principles and platforms that make up the service. At this point, I want to make it clear that Managed Workspace is not a set of technologies hosted by Ultima. Everything will be hosted in your own Microsoft tenancies, and all the products are licensed to your organization outside the sort of things we use for service management, sort of ServiceNow. So should you decide to move away from the service, there's no sort of complicated or ugly divorce proceedings that causes any disruption to your business. That's something that we're quite keen to not sort of tie you to, so that we're not going to interrupt sort of normal business operation. So there are 5 service platforms within Managed Workspace, starting with the core platform. So this is a mandatory purchase, and this platform uses the likes of Microsoft Endpoint Manager, Avanti Neuron's Patch Management, and Eternity Digital Experience Manager. Noting that for businesses with less than sort of 250 users, we identify that. So that's probably the Eternity product is probably overkill for that size organization. So we replaced that with Microsoft Endpoint Analytics, which still does a good job and is more sort of fit for purpose for a smaller organization. Next is the optional security platform, which includes a number of optional services, included manage endpoint detection and response service using Microsoft Defender for Endpoint as the underlying technology, managed identity, data and app security using the likes of Defender for Cloud Apps, Defender for Office 365, Azure MFA, conditional access, single sign-on, and so on. There's also an optional full MDR service, so managed detection and response, which includes like I said, a 24/7 SOC service operated by skilled subject matter experts. The JML platform we just discussed, and as well as providing the consultancy and setup, will support sort of any changes to that process as well, through the lifetime of the JML process. Just, obviously you may want to make changes from time to time, and we'll support that. So the device platform covers device management service. So we just discussed this, and including hardware fulfillment, break fix, device enrollment, stock holding, and config, and disposal or recycling. So yeah, the full sort of life cycle of the sort of device itself. Oh, skip forward a bit there. Yeah, so the last platform is the productivity platform, which is still in development but soon to be released, and this covers the management and sort of backup of Office 365, as well as it covers the adoption and change management services we previously discussed. So in terms of, I talked about the principles behind the service, so I've just highlighted them across the top there. So we've adopted sort of 5 key principles, including sort of an automation first approach. So when developing any process, we look to automate everything and to make it more efficient, cost effective. Ensuring service excellence by way of sort of well-defined service description, so you always know what you're getting. Ensuring security is always considered in all development, as well as ensuring that we aim to sort of maintain high productivity levels for your end users, and importantly unlock the full potential of your investment in the sort of software that your users are using. So yeah, those are the sort of 5 principles that we continuously adopt and sort of challenge and make sure that they're still relevant, just so we're evolving the managed workspace offering continuously. Okay, so moving on to the last slide. So to facilitate the purchase of these services, we've created packs, and these essentially represent the platforms we just saw on the last slide. And this slide is simply to demonstrate the sort of modular purchasing options that they have. In recognition of the fact that organizations have a wide range of requirements, and some will want to attain some skills internally and process skills and processes internally, and so some other things they want to outsource. So yeah, we created a sort of five modular packs, allowing you to mix and match what's right for your business or your organization. So matching your requirements, the more packs you take, obviously the more our level of ownership increases, so the more we take on responsibility for those activities. So the core pack is mandatory and contains all the sort of fundamental requirements for endpoint lifecycle management. So like we talked about previously, so onboarding, the Windows operating system lifecycle, application deployment and patching, managed device management and managed application management, and the all important digital experience management. So the security pack, which is optional, as I said, and has 3 bundled options. So already discussed and coming soon at the bottom there is an anti-phishing platform provided by our new business acquisition, which is the anti-social engineer. So more info on that to come. Just to point out, just it's quite relevant now. So there's a sort of detailed service overview that we're producing in a sort of PDF format that we'll get out to you shortly. We're just going through a rebranding exercise at the moment, so it will be out very shortly, but it will go through a lot of detail as to what all is included in all these packs. So yeah. I'm just conscious that slides are always great, but don't give you the full picture. But the service overview, and likewise, encourage you to call your account managers and arrange a sort of call with myself or my team. And we'd love to have that sort of one-to-one interaction with yourself, get your feedback, and sort of talk you through how we could sort of help you with this service. So the remaining packs we've discussed, so JML, device and productivity packs, all optional, so all mix and match. Okay, so that essentially concludes the presentation. Short and sweet, but I'm conscious that it's quite a big service, and I didn't want to go into massive amount of detail because I'm sure you're all thinking of a lot of questions, and I'm hoping that it's resonating with you as a service. And really would like to get in front of you and talk about it a bit more to you if you want to reach out. So please reach out to your account managers if you'd like to have a one-to-one conversation with myself or one of my team. Like I said, there will be a detailed service overview document coming out shortly. So thanks for joining. I hope it's been informative for you, and at the very least gives you some sort of food for thought with regard to some of the considerations around managing a modern workspace. Hope you all have a great day. I'll leave the sort of webinar open for a couple of minutes, just to give you a couple of minutes to ask any questions that you want in the chat. And like I said, we'll process those offline for you. Thanks again.